Good day everyone, I'm Maria Monica L. de los Trinos together with my groupmates Charlene Eunice Chapman, Ana Velasquez, Marian Moreno, Beyonce Villarreal, Sarah Hornilia, Marian Dotado, and John Ralph Magnayan. We're going to tackle about production and operation strategy. First, let me discuss the importance of company's vision, mission, goals, and objectives. First, the vision of a company is like a lighthouse guiding a ship through the night. So it describes what the organization hopes to achieve in the long run, painting a picture of an ideal future that inspires and motivates everyone involved. A vision isn't about specific or measurable targets. Rather, it's about the dreams and ideals that the company strives for. This long-term focus helps keep everyone on the same page working toward a shared aspiration. So as Jack Welch, former CEO of General Electric, put it, good business leaders create a vision, articulate the vision, passionately own the vision, and relentlessly drive it to completion. So why vision is important? Even if not every company with a vision statement becomes wildly successful, the most successful companies always have a vision to guide them. A vision is rooted in a company's core values and serves as the foundation or making long-term decisions. While products, strategies, and practices might evolve, a company's true vision remains a constant guiding principle. For example, Avon's vision is to be the company that best understands and satisfies the product, service, and self-fulfillment needs of women globally. So this vision drives everything Avon does, ensuring all efforts align with their ultimate aspiration. So next is a mission statement. So a mission statement explains why the organization exists and what role it plays in society. It answers the essential question, who are we? A well-crafted mission statement captures the organization's identity and clearly states its purpose. This is not about being inspirational but about providing a clear focus on what the organization does and doesn't do to achieve its vision. So why is mission important? So the mission defines the company before developing a long-term plan. It's crucial to know exactly what business you're in, who your customers are, and what your company values. Without a well-defined mission, a company might chase opportunities that don't align with its core business or miss out on suitable opportunities altogether. Take WestJet for example. So their mission is to enrich the lives of everyone in WestJet's world by providing safe, friendly, and affordable air travel. So this mission ensures WestJet stays true to its core focus and values. So next is the goals. So what are goals? So goals are specific measurable targets that the company sets to guide its progress. So they provide direction and are usually long-term, helping to turn the vision into reality. So effective goals are SMART or SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So setting goals is an essential part of business planning, impacting everything from mission statements to financial objectives and marketing strategies. So why are goals important? Everyone knows what they're working towards, ensuring all efforts are coordinated. So goals are keeping your team aligned. So goals increase productivity, so it clear targets, help teams focus their efforts efficiently. Next is goals led to faster growth. So by setting and pursuing ambitious targets, companies can drive their development and success. Next is what are objectives. So objectives are specific, measurable steps a business takes to achieve its goals. So while goals are broad and long-term, objectives break them down into more manageable short-term tasks. These objectives provide clear, actionable items that help ensure a business is steadily progressing toward its overall goals. So, to be effective, objectives should be SMART or SMART, specific, which is clear and precise, measurable, which is quantifiable to track progress, achievable, which is realistic and attainable, and relevant, which is aligned with broader goals, and lastly, time-bound, which is set within a specific time frame. So, Mark Farland describes objectives as the goals, aims, or purposes that organizations wish to achieve over varying periods of time. By setting these detailed steps, businesses can maintain focus and direction, making consistent progress toward their larger aspirations. So, in a positive work environment, ambitious goals can boost employee engagement and create excitement, motivating everyone to work hard toward the shared objectives. By having a clear vision, mission, and set of goals, a company can ensure it stays on track and continually moves towards its ultimate aspirations. And these elements are not just statements on a wall, but the very core that shapes all strategic decisions and actions. And the last part will be discussed by Ana Velasquez.
Next, what are objectives? Objectives are specific and measurable steps that are taken to achieve a goal. They are typically shorter term and help to ensure that the business is making progress toward its overall goals. Objectives should also be smart to be effective. According to McFarland, objectives are the goals, aims, or purposes that organizations wish to achieve or over varying period of time. Objectives are precise and quantifiable actions that a business undertakes to achieve its broader goals. To be truly effective, objectives needs to be smart, meaning they should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Kumbaga, this is a step-by-step procedure na sinusunod at kung align ang bawat actions. So, ayon nga kay McFarland, objectives as the aims or purposes that organizations seek to accomplish over different time frames. It means that the importance of objectives is providing clear direction and measurable milestones that help organizations systematically work towards their long-term goals. Next, according to Bates and Parkinson, production is the organized activity of transforming resources into finished products in the form of goods and services. The objective of production is to satisfy the demand for such transformed resources. They describe it as an organized activity aimed at transforming inputs into products that meet customer needs. They highlight the importance of structured processes and resource management in creating valuable outputs. According to J.R. Hicks, production is any activity directed to the satisfaction of other people's wants through exchange. This definition makes it clear that in economics, we do not treat the mere making of things as production. What is made must be designed to satisfy wants. They expand on this by emphasizing that production is not merely about making items, but about creating products that satisfy the needs and wants of others through exchange. This economics perspective underscores that true production must result in goods or services that have value and utility for others, ensuring they meet specific consumer demands. Next, the role of operations strategy. The role of operations strategy is to provide a plan for the operations function so that it can make the best use of its resources. Operations strategy specifies the policies and plans for using organization's resources to support its long-term competitive strategy. Operations strategy is the plan that specifies the design and use of resources to support the business strategy. This includes the location, size, and type of facilities available, work skills and talent required, use of technology, special processes needed, special equipment, and quality control methods. The operation strategy must be aligned with the company's business strategy and enable the company to achieve its long-term plan. Operations strategy plays a crucial role in aligning the operations function with the organization's long-term competitive strategy. It involves creating detailed plans and policies for the optimal use of resources to support the overall business goals. This strategy encompasses various elements, including the design and utilization of facilities, workforce capabilities, technological applications, special processes, and quality control measures. A well-formulated operations strategy ensures that all aspects of the operations function are in harmony with the company's business strategy. For example, the business strategy of FedEx, the world's largest provider of expedited delivery services, is to compete on time and dependability of deliveries. The operations strategy of FedEx develop a plan for resources to support its business strategy to provide speed of delivery. FedEx acquired its own fleet of airplanes to provide dependability of deliveries. FedEx invested in a sophisticated barcode technology to track all packages. Next example is McDonald's goal to provide customers with food of a high standard, to provide quick service and value for money, to serve good food in a friendly and fun environment. The strategies they use is quick service time, which McDonald's recognized the importance of fast service in attracting and retaining customers. Next is cost efficiency. McDonald's employs multiple operational strategies to maintain quality while keeping costs low. Quality focus, McDonald's priorities quality across various aspects including price, product, promotion, people, and place. The flexibility, McDonald's offers a diverse range of products and continually generates new ideas to enhance their offerings. Through these strategic initiatives, McDonald's effectively aligns its operation with its goals, delivering high-quality food, quick service, and a welcoming dining experience while maintaining cost efficiency and adaptability in a competitive market. Next, IKEA's operations strategy. Goal. IKEA's mission is to provide a wide range of home furnishing items characterized by good design, functionality, and durability, offered at affordable prices to make them accessible to the majority of people. IKEA operations strategy. Volume dimension. IKEA is operating just like a warehouse. It produces a high volume of furniture and products that could be self-assembled. Variety dimension. IKEA's furniture is value for money with a wide range of choice. It is designed to be stored and sold as flat pack but is capable of easy assembly by the customer. Next is variation in demand. IKEA has a moderate variable demand pattern. Visibility dimension. The visibility dimension means how much of the operations activities its customers experience or how much the operation is exposed to its customers. In short, it refers to the amount of customers contact that the operation has.
Facility location and layout. Facility location. Of all the pieces of the planning puzzle, facility location is the most strategic and critical. Once you build a new manufacturing facility, you have made a substantial investment of time, resources, and capital that can't be changed for a long time. Selecting the wrong location can be disastrous. Some of the key factors that influence facility location are the following: proximity to customers, suppliers, and skilled labor. For customers, being close to customers reduce transportation costs and delivery times, enhancing customer satisfaction. For example, an e-commerce company might locate its warehouse near major urban centers to ensure fast delivery. For suppliers, proximity to suppliers can minimize logistic costs and improve supply chain reliability. For instance, an automotive plant might be situated near its part suppliers to facilitate just-in-time manufacturing. Skilled labor. Access to pool of skilled labor is vital. Tech companies, for example, often locate in regions known for their high concentration of skilled workers, such as Silicon Valley for its tech talent. Environmental regulation. Businesses must comply with local environmental laws, which can vary significantly between locations. A company with high emission might choose a location with more lenient regulation or better pollution control technologies. For example, a chemical manufacturing plant might select a location with supportive regulation for industrial emissions. Financial incentives offered by state and local development authorities. State and local development authorities may offer tax breaks, grants, or other incentives to attract businesses. For instance, Tesla received substantial tax incentives to build its Gigafactory in Nevada. Quality of life consideration. Quality of life in the area can affect employee satisfaction and retention. Companies can often consider factors like healthcare, education, and recreational facilities. For example, a corporate headquarters might be located in a city known for its high quality of life to attract top executive talent. Potential for future expansion. The chosen location should have room for growth to accommodate future businesses expansion. An example is Amazon, which selects warehouse location with ample space to add new facilities as demand grows. Facility layout. After the site location decision has been made, the next focus in production planning is the facility's layout. The goal is to determine the most efficient and effective design for the particular production process. Service organization must also consider layout, but they are more concerned with how it affects customer behavior. It may be more convenient for a hospital to place its bright elevators in the centers of the building, for example, but doing so may block the flow of patients, visitors, and medical personnel between floors and departments. So, example of facility layout is in manufacturing. A factory producing electronic might use a circular layout where different cells are dedicated to different product families, each with necessary equipment and resources close at hand. This reduces movement and increases flexibility. In service, a hotel might design its layout to ensure easy access to amenities such as restaurants, gyms, and conference rooms for guests, enhancing their overall experience. Both facility location and layout are strategic decisions that significantly impact the efficiency, cost, and success of operation in manufacturing and service industry. Proper planning and consideration of key factors ensure that this decision contribute positively to the business long-term goals. Capacity planning. Capacity planning is a crucial process for organization. It helps ensure they have the sufficient production capacity to meet customer demand while minimizing excess capacity that result in waste and increased costs. Capacity planning is a strategic process used by organizations to ensure they have the necessary resources to meet a current and future demands. It involves assessing the production capacity needed to satisfy demand without underutilizing resources or incurring excess costs. Organizations must understand their current production capacity and future product demand to implement capacity planning effectively. Moreover, this information can be gathered through market research, customer data, and other resources, and is used to determine the necessary production capacity needed to meet demand. There are two main types of capacity planning. First is short-term capacity planning, focuses on immediate capacity needs and is usually done daily or weekly. For example, a bakery needs to manage its production capacity to meet daily demand for bread and pastries. Each day, they estimate how much of each product will be needed based on customer orders and historical data. If they anticipate a higher demand on weekends, they might schedule additional staff or increase production hours. Conversely, if demand is lower on certain weekdays, they might reduce staff hours or decrease production to avoid waste. And the last one is a long-term capacity planning. Focuses on capacity needs over a year or more over a longer period. It is used to make strategic decision on capacity expansion or reduction investment. For example, car manufacturer forecasts a significant increase in demand for electric vehicles over the next 5 years. To prepare, they undertake long-term capacity planning. This might involve investing in new production lines, expanding existing manufacturing plants, or acquiring additional facilities. They also consider long-term staffing needs, supply chain adjustment, and potential technological advancement. This strategic planning ensures that they can wrap up production to meet the anticipated demand without facing bottlenecks or delays. Inventory management. Inventory management helps companies identify which and how much stock to order and what time. It tracks inventory from purchase to the sale of goods. The practice identifies and responds to trends to ensure there's always enough stock to fulfill customer orders and proper warning of a shortage. Benefits of inventory management: saves money. Understanding stock trends means you see how much of and where you have something in stock, so you're better able to use the stock you have. This also allows you to keep less stock at each location, store, or warehouse. As you're able to pull from anywhere to fulfill orders, all of this decreases costs tied up in inventory and decreases the amount of stock that goes unsold before it's obsolete. For example, a clothing retailer uses an inventory management system to track the stocks level of different apparel items across its multiple stores and warehouses. If a particular store runs low on a popular t-shirt, the system can identify where the t-shirt is available and transfer it from a location with surplus stock. This reduces the need to overstock the t-shirt at each store, saving on storage costs and reducing the likelihood of having unsold t-shirt that might go out of style. Improves cash flow. With proper inventory management, you spend money on inventory that sells, so cash is always moving through the business. For example, a bookstore uses an inventory management system to monitor the sales of various books. The system analyzes past sales data to predict future demand, ensuring the bookstore orders only the books that are likely to sell. This strategy means that the bookstore funds are not tied up in excess inventory, allowing it to have more cash on hand for other expense or investments. Satisfies customer. One element of developing loyal customers is ensuring they receive the items they want without waiting. For example, an online electronics retailer uses an inventory management system to track the availability of high demand items like smartphones and laptops. When a customer places an order for a new smartphone, the system checks the inventory across various warehouses and ensures that order is fulfilled from the nearest location with available stock. This efficient process ensures that the customer receive their smartphone quickly. Supply chain management. Supply chain management is the process of managing the flow of goods and services to and from our businesses, including in every step involved in turning raw materials and components into final products and getting them to the ultimate customer. Effective supply chain management can help streamline a company activities to eliminate waste, maximize customer value, and gain a competitive advantage in the marketplace. So here's the 5 phases of supply chain management. First is planning. Planning, this initial phase involves strategizing the entire supply chain process to meet customer demands. It includes forecasting demand, determining necessary resources, developing production plans, and creating schedules to ensure that the supply chain operate efficiently and cost effectively. Effective planning aims to balance supply and demand, minimize inventory costs, and optimize the use of resources. So, second is sourcing. It involves identifying and selecting suppliers who provide the necessary raw materials, components, or services. These phase include negotiating contracts, establishing quality standards, and creating procurement processes. Effective sourcing ensures that the materials and services meet the company's standards for quality, cost, and delivery times. It also involves building strong relationship with suppliers to ensure a reliable supply of inputs. 3 is manufacturing. In this phase, the actual production or assembly of products takes place. It involves scheduling the manufacturing processes, managing the workforce, maintaining equipment, and ensuring quality control. Efficient manufacturing processes aim to maximize productivity, minimize waste, and maintain high product quality. This phase also includes the management of production schedules to meet customer demand and inventory requirements. The fourth is delivery, also known as logistics. This phase involves the storage and transportation of finished products to customers. It includes order processing, warehousing, inventory management, and transportation logistics. The goal is to ensure that the products are delivered to the right place and the right time, and in the right condition. Effective delivery processes enhance customer satisfaction and reduce logistics costs. And the last one is returns. The return phase deals with the handling of return products, whether due to defects, excess supply, or customer dissatisfaction. These phases include reverse logistics, which involves the processes of receiving return products, inspecting them, managing refunds or replacement, and redistributing or recycling them. Efficient management of returns can help recover value, reduce waste, and improve customer service. Quality control implement. Process through which a business seeks to ensure the product quality is maintained or improved. Quality controls requires the company to create an environment where management and employees strive for perfection. This is done by training personnel, creating benchmark for product quality, and testing products to check for statistically significant variation. Quality control involves testing units and determining if they are within the specification for the final product. The purpose of those testing is to determine any need for corrective action in manufacturing process. Good quality control helps companies meet consumer demands for better products. Quality testing is generally completed in each step of a manufacturing or business's process. Employees often begin by testing raw materials, pulling samples from the manufacturing line, and testing the finished product. Testing at the various stages of manufacturing helps to identify where a production problem is occurring and the remedial step it requires to prevent it in the future. Quality control is a vital process for any businesses that aims to maintain or improve the quality of its product. It involves creating an environment where both management and employees are committed to achieving perfection. The primary goal of quality control is to detect and rectify any issues in manufacturing process by testing products in various stages, beginning with raw materials, continuing through production, and ending with the final product. Companies can pinpoint where problems occur and take corrective action to prevent future issues. This continuous monitoring ensures that the product consistently meet consumer demand for high quality. For example, in food industry, quality control might involve in ingredient specification, ensuring that all ingredients meet the required standards. Next is reviewing supplier lists, evaluating suppliers to ensure they provide quality materials. And the last one is sanitary facilities, making sure that the production environment is clean and sanitary. And next example is three examples of quality control could be in food industry, overseeing the ingredients specification, reviewing supplier list, and ensuring the facility where the food product is made is sanitary. Four types of quality control. X-bar chart example. In pharmaceutical industry, ensuring the consistency and quality of drugs is paramount to safeguarding patient health and meeting regulatory requirements. Randomly selected batches of medication can be tested. By analyzing the variant patterns in these charts, the company can identify any differences from desired quality standard, define a systematic issue in the manufacturing process that needs to be addressed. So the X-bar charts, this helps in pinpointing systematic issues in the manufacturing process that need to be addressed to maintain high quality standards. The next one is Six Sigma example. Jollibee has been recognized for its commitment to quality and efficiency in its operation. The company has implemented Six Sigma methodologies to streamline its processes, reduce waste, and enhance the consistency and quality of its food products and service. So the Six Sigma example is to reduce waste and enhance the consistency and quality of its food product and services. This systematic approach helps in minimizing defects and variation in production process, ensuring high quality outputs. So the Taguchi mode example is pharmaceutical companies in the Philippines could utilize the Taguchi method to improve the efficiency of drug manufacturing processes, ensuring consistent quality and reducing likelihood errors. Method is used to enhance the efficiency of drug manufacturing processes by focusing on design optimization and robust energy. And the last one is 100% inspection method example. Pharmaceutical manufacturing company to carefully examine every unit of their products for defects, contamination, or deviation from quality and standards.
Technology adoption. Technology adoption breaks down the phases of acceptance and is categorized into different groups of adopters. The first stage of user adoption begins with innovators. These are the people who develop and produce new technology. The second category, early adopters, represents the first group to use the product. Most people fit into the following two groups: the early majority and the late majority. Finally, laggards are the last to adopt the new technology. Meaning, in technology adoptions, sinasabi nga dito na may mga iba't ibang categories ang pag-develop at ang pag-a-adapt sa isang technology. Nag-i-start nga siya sa innovator na kung saan sila ang gumagawa o nagpo-produce ng mga new technologies. Next naman, next category naman ay ang mga early adopters. Sila ang isa sa mga gumagamit ng newly produced technologies ng mga innovators. At ang tawag naman sa mga late user of technologies ay laggards. The importance of technology adoption minimizes customer churn and improves customer lifetime value or CLV. Customers will stop using your product or service if they do not understand the value they can get from it. But when you train your employees on developing solutions to negative customer sentiment earlier and tailoring the product or customer so that they realize its total value, you can prevent churn. So, ang meaning naman dito ay customers or consumers will stop using the service if hindi nakukuha ng mga customers ang satisfaction sa service na ni-request nila. Pero once na nabigyan ng guide ang mga employees to how to handle ang mga negative comments or yung hindi na malaman ng customers kung paano siya gamitin, magkakaroon ng idea na ang mga customers para bigyan ng value yung service na kinuha nila from its technology. Next is accelerates productivity and efficiency. Once employees understand how to use all aspects of an application, technology can play a vital role in automating several workflows within various departments such as sales, finance, and marketing. Your user adoption strategy could help your business streamline workflows to eliminate departmental silos, minimize turnaround time, and automate simple process. Meaning naman dito naman ay alam ng mga employees ang proper way of using technology na ini-introduce nila sa mga consumer at magkakaroon ang consumer ng satisfaction dahil alam nga ng mga employees kung paano ipakilala ang technology na kinuha ng consumers at mas mapapataas nito ang sales, finance at marketing strategies kasi matalino ang isang employee at mapapabalis din ang proseso sa customers kasi nga alam ng employees kung paano ang kanilang ginagawa. Next is to empower the company to focus on more innovation into workplace can encourage employees to look at ways in which current systems can be improved so that they can offer more unique products for customers, as well as improving standards, customer satisfaction, and innovation. As a result of technology, you can also enhance business growth in a competitive industry. So, ang sinasabi sa empowers a company to focus on more innovation, sinasabi dito na it can encourage more sa employees if nagsasucceed sila sa pag-o-offer ng different products or services sa mga customers. At kapag nagsasucceed sila sa mga pag-o-offer ng iba't ibang products or services sa mga customers, nag-i-improve din nag-i-improve ang customer satisfaction ng business at pwede pa silang mas mag-innovate pa or mas mapalawak pa nila ang kanilang business. So, technology adoption best practices: 1. Conduct a needs analysis, design an end-user focused solution, conduct a pilot program, develop and deploy a comprehensive communication strategy, and provide custom end-user adoption support. So, kapag naisagawa itong mga technology adoption best practices, ay dito na masasabi na sobrang successful na ng pag-i-innovate ng product or service para ma-satisfy pa lalo ang kanilang mga target consumers. So there are different strategies to increase adoption of new technology. The first strategy is develop a long-term tech strategy. So dapat kapag magde-develop ka ng bagong technology, dapat is yung pangmatagalan na at saka alam mo na yung mga best quality of materials na dapat na kailangan mong gamitin. Next is plan for communication and questions. Ayun nga, dapat magtatanong ka, magplaplano ka kung ano dapat ba yung mga materials na gagamitin mo para sa new technology na ilalabas mo sa market. Next is explain the benefits of the technology. Siyempre, kapag mag-produce or magpapakilala kayo ng new technology sa business, dapat pinapakilala ninyo sa customers or sa mga developers nyo muna kung ano nga ba ang purpose ng inyong technology na ginawa. Kung para ba siya sa bahay, kung pwede ba siya sa coffee shop or kahit saan. Next is organize training and learning. Siyempre, once naipakilala nyo na siya and na-develop nyo na yung technology na pinaplano nyo, dapat magkaroon ng proper training and learning sa mga bibili ng technology kung paano ba siya dapat gamitin para iwas dismayado para sa mga customers na bibili ng mga newly produced technologies. Lastly is evaluate your adoption's initial success. Ayun, dito na lumalabas kung nagkaroon ba ng customer satisfaction or na-satisfied ka ba sa binili mong or sa ginawa mong newly technology na nilabas. Next is the 7 steps to successful technology adoption. 1 is align technology and strategy. 2, communicate for buy-in engagement. 3, perform a current system analysis. 4, develop a training approach early. 5, integrate technology deployment with change management. 6, create an effective governance structure. And 7, monitor and course correct. Next is why is technology adoption important? Successful technology adoption is essential to the growth of a business. The benefits of digital technology include improving workflow, enhancing user experiences, and making business operations more efficient. Technology adoption. So dito sinasabi na kaya sobrang halaga din ng adoption ng technology is kasi nga mas nakakatulong siya, mas ma-improve ang business. Kasi kapag ang business mo ay hindi ka gumagamit ng newly provided technology or like nasa sinauna ka pa rin, mapapag-iwanan ang business na ika-come up mo. So mas maganda na magkaroon ka ng advanced technology sa negosyo, at least alam kung paano ang magiging workflow ng business at pwede namang i-train ng mga employees kung paano siya gamitin. So, ang example dito is ang Microsoft. Microsoft has dominated the software sales market for years with its Windows operating system, but they noticed a change in consumer behavior and decided to adopt. Customers began using smartphones and tablets. Microsoft extended its reach by making its software more accessible. For example, Microsoft Office became available on tablet devices, allowing users to work without a laptop. Ayun, so sinasabi dito na noon sobrang useful ng Microsoft kasi nga ito yung laging ginagamit na software sa pag-aayos ng sales numbers, basta sa lahat ng sales sa business, Microsoft ang ginagamit. Kaso, maraming changes na ang nangyayari, parang ibang business ay hindi na gumagamit ng Microsoft, parang may iba na silang ginagamit na software. Kaya ang ginawa ng Microsoft ay mas in-enhance niya or mas inadapt niya ang kanyang software at ginawa niya siya ng Microsoft Office at nilagyan siya ng iba't iba pang parts like Excel, PowerPoint, and etc. Metrics and performance measurement. Metric is a measure that can be verified either by qualitative and quantitative means with respect to a reference point. Ideally, metrics are consistent with how the operation delivers value to its customers. The metrics needed to be meaningful to control and add value. So, ang sinasabi po sa metrics ay verify lang to based sa quantitative or qualitative means na binibigay nito. At ang metrics daw po ay nag-ooperate lang siya kung paano siya i-deliver or kung paano ma-deliver yung value ng metrics sa customers. At ang metrics nga daw po ay nag-a-add lamang ng control at add value sa business. So, there are 3 functions that performance metrics should be provided. Number 1 is control. Metrics should be enable managers to evaluate and control the resources they are responsible for. So, ang sinasabi dito, dapat merong alam ang manager at nakokontrol dapat ng manager ang resources na nilalabas nila para maging successful ang kanilang business. Number 2 is communication. Metrics convey performance to internal workers and internal stakeholders. Internally, it allows us to communicate goals and standards. External stakeholders do not need to understand the internal process within the company. But stake but metrics allows us to give stakeholders the knowledge of what needs to happen. So ang sinasabi naman po sa communication, ang metrics daw po ay inaalaw ang internal workers na makipag-communicate at makuha yung standards na gusto ng business. Tapos ang external stakeholders naman po ay hindi na niya kailangan ng internal process or hindi niya na kailangan pang malaman kung ano yung nangyayari sa loob ng kumpanya. Pero ang metrics, binibigyan niya ang stakeholders ng knowledge kung ano nga, or ng kaalaman kung ano nangyayari sa loob ng kumpanya. And lastly, improvement. Metrics identify discrepancies or gaps between performance and expectations. This identifies opportunities and points us towards improvement. So, sinasabi naman dito, yun nga, siya nga, from the word itself, improvements, ang metrics daw ay ina-identify kung ano yung kailangan pang mas i-improve or mas kailangan pang palawakin sa business. Kasi, parang kapag dito mo ma-identify nga kung ano yung ine-expect ng customer nyo sa business nyo. So, ayun yung kailangan nyong i-improve pa.
So for our next slide, we have key performance indicators or KPIs required for attributes. This includes measure, target, source, and frequency. So first, we have measure. Express the activity we intend to measure, the number of new customers. So ibig sabihin ay, ang measure is, syempre, tumutukoy siya sa isang activity na na gusto nating masuka. So halimbawa na lamang ay bilang ng mga customer. Ganun. So next, we have target. Target, the numerical value we want to achieve. This needs to be derived from our due date. We want 60 customers. So, ang target naman is parang tumutukoy siya sa halaga ng isang customer na gusto nating makamit. Bawa ay sa isang activity, may itinakda siyang date. Halimbawa na lamang ay gusto natin dun sa target na yun ay gusto natin magkaroon ng 60 na bagong customer. So, kailangan yun na yung mismo yung isang target. So, for the next is source, the data system we are going to use to calculate our metrics. So, yung data system naman ay siya yung gagamitin para ma-calculate yung mga metrics ng isang activity. So, we have frequency. How often we need to evaluate and measure these goals. Monthly, quarterly, annually, and etc. So, yun na ang frequency naman is kung gaano kadalas natin susuriin yung halimbawa. Kung paano susukatin yung mga activity, halimbawa na lamang ay, yun nga, buwanan or quarterly or taon-taon. So, next is we have, performance measurement. Ang performance measurement is a vital process that helps businesses evaluate and improve their performance in relation to their strategic goals. It involves setting clear and measurable performance goals and standards, collecting and analyzing data in performance, providing feedback and recognition, and implementing actions for improvement. Performance measurements enables businesses to track their progress, identify strengths and weaknesses, and align their actions with their vision and mission. So, ang measurement naman ay mahalaga sa pag-process na tumutulong sa isang negosyo para masuri at saka, yun nga, para mapabuti yung isang ginagawang activity. So, for our next slide, to implement a performance measurement, system effectively. Businesses need to follow a systematic approach that involves several steps. These steps include setting smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound objectives that align with the business's strategy and vision. So, sa pagtatakda naman ng SMART, yun yung specific, measurable, achievements, relevant, at saka time-bound. Yun yung mga layunin na naaayon sa isang strategy or vision ng isang negosyo. So, next is the identifying the key performance metrics and KPIs that will measure the achievements of the objectives. So, yun naman yung pagkilala ng mga pangunahing performance metrics ng key performance indicator na masusukat at sa pagkamit ng mga layunin ng isang performance. The third one is establishing the data sources, methods, frequency, and responsibility for collecting and reporting the performance data. So, yun naman yung pagtatata ng mga pinagmulan ng mga data tsaka pamamaraan na yun yung responsibility na para ma-collect at saka maulat yung mga performance ng isang data. So, for the fourth is developing a performance management plan that outlines how the performance data will be analyzed, communicated, reviewed, and acted upon. So, yun naman yung pagbuo ng halimbawa ng mga performance management plan na nilalahad doon yung mga kung paano yung performance data iaayos at saka gagawa ng aksyon. So, halimbawa, for our fifth is conducting regular performance reviews that compare the actual performance with the expected performance and provide feedback and recognition performance. So, yun naman yung mga pagsasagawa ng mga regular na performance reviews na kailangan ay aalamin yung mga actual na inaasahang magaganap at yun naman yung magbibigay ng halimbawa mga feedback at pagkilala kung alin ang mga naisaayos. For the sixth is the taking corrective and preventive actions to address any performance issues or gaps and improve performance continuously. Yun naman yung mga pagsasagawa ng mga corrective at saka preventive na mga activity or action para halimbawa, para maisaayos yung mga issue at saka mga gaps na nagaganap at saka na nagaganap para ipagpatuloy yung magandang activity. For our next slide is peak performance measurement. Is a powerful practice that can help businesses achieve strategic success. There are many examples of organizations that have used performance measurement effectively to drive their performance improvement. Some of these examples are, so first we have Amazon. Amazon is one of the world's largest online retailers that use performance measurement extensively to monitor and optimize its customer service quality. Amazon uses various KPIs to measure its customer services performance such as customer satisfaction score or CSAT, Net Promoter Score, NPS, Customer Effort Score or CES, First Contract Resolution or FCR, Average Handle Time yung or AHT, and etc. So, ang Amazon can also uses data analytics to identify customer pains points and opportunities to improvement. So, for example, is Amazon introduced its My Day button on Kids Kindle Fire devices that allows customer to connect with a live agent with 15 seconds for any technical issues. So, alam naman natin na ang Amazon siya yung may pinakamalaking online retailers dito sa mundo na gumagamit din daw ang Amazon ng key performance measurement upang siyempre para malaman yung ang satisfaction ng isang customer. So, sabi din dito is ang Amazon ay para din matukoy nila yung problema ng isang customer at saka malaman nila yung isang opportunity kung paano nila mapapabuti yung ang pagre-retail nila or yung pagbibigay nila ng satisfaction sa mga customer. So, for the next slide is we have Google. So, Google, the tech giant, uses a sophisticated performance management system. They set objectives and key results, or OKRs, each quarter. So, OKRs are ambitious goals with quintable outcomes. Employees align their individual goals with these OKRs, creating a cascading effect that connects individual and team efforts to the company overarching objectives. Regular check-ins and transparent reporting ensure that everyone is on track and adjustments are made as needed. So, kilala naman natin ang Google. So, ang Google daw ay isa daw sa may yung kumbaga, higanteng teknolohiya na sa isa na kumpanya dito na meron tayo na ginagamit. Na yun yung ginagamit ng mga system sa pamamahala para yun nga, alam naman natin na ang Google ay malaki na itulong na para magkaroon ng isang performance or ang isang indicator ng magandang system. So we have the Walmart. A retail giant uses a performance management system centered on customer satisfactions. They track KPIs like customer feedback scores, product availability, and checkout wait times. This data informs decisions at all levels, from the store floor to corporate strategy. Walmart's continuous monitoring and data-driven approach help them adapt quickly to changing market dynamics. So, ang Walmart naman ay one of the biggest retail din na meron. Kilala naman natin ang Walmart na gumagamit din siya ng KPI para mapa na mapa na ano, maisaayos yung pagpapaganap ng customer ng satisfaction ng isang customer. So, parang sabi, sinusubaybayan din daw nila yung KPIs tulad ng yun nga, no, customer feedback scores, yung availability ng mga produkto at saka oras ng pag-iintay ng mga checkouts. So, for our next slide is we have what are production costs? Production costs refer to all the direct and indirect costs businesses face from manufacturing a product or providing a service. Production costs can include a variety of expenses such as labor, raw materials, consumable, manufacturing supplies, and general overhead. So, next is the lead time. Lead time is the amount of time that passes from the start of a process until its conclusion. Companies review time in manufacturing, supply chain management, and project management during processing, pre-processing, processing, and post-processing stages. By comparing results against established benchmarks, they can determine whether efficiencies exist. So, ang lead time naman daw is yun yung amount of time na pinapasa from the beginning ng isang process hanggang dun sa kung ano yung conclusion kung ano yung kalalabasan. So, defect rates naman ay, defect rates refer to the proportion of defective items in a given sample or production batch. They are typically expressed as a percentage ratio. So for our next slide, we have the capacity utilization. Utilization refers to the manufacturing and production's capabilities that are being utilized by a nation or enterprise at a given time. It is relationship between the output produced with the given resources and the potential output that can be produced. Its capacity was fully used. So, ang capacity utilization naman ay tumutukoy siya dun sa mga kakayahan ng isang manufacturing at ng isang production sa na ginagamit ng isang bansa or enterprises na sa kung saan namang oras. Yun naman yung ano, yun naman yung relationship sa pagitan ng isang output na ginawa gamit ang mga binigay na resources at saka yung mga output na maaaring magawa upang ang isang activity ay magamit. So there are several benefits to having an operations strategy within your business organization, such as employee efficiency. So ang employee efficiency naman ay operations strategies define the goal or different departments which lets team managers and employees know what they are working toward. An operations strategy can help to ensure an employee that contributes to an operation uses their time and skills efficiency. In addition, organizations leaders can learn which departments are operating efficiency and which may need improvement. Ang employee efficiency naman, sila naman yung operation strategies na parang yung naglalagay ng mga kung ano yung layunin ng mga iba't ibang kung ano yung gusto ng iba't ibang mga departments na nagbibigay naman ng way sa mga team manager at mga empleyado para malaman yung kanilang pinagtatrabahuhan. So for the next one is the resource management. Organizations often have a finite amount of resources, making it essential that they are using them efficiently. Operation strategies can help leaders determine which areas of the organizations need the most resources and how to best deliver those resources. By developing an operation strategy, leaders can more the cost of running different departments. They can analyze these costs and see if they are in line with the organization's overall goals. So, ang resource management naman ay yun yung mga organization na madalas na may limit ng dami ng mga resources. Yun yung mga ginagawa na mahalaga na para magamitin kung ano yung mga activity, kung alin yung mas magaling or mas epektibo. Yun kagaya ng mga ang operation strategy naman ay sinabi na yun yung makakatulong sa mga managers or mga pinuno para matukoy kung aling mga way na organization ang nangangailangan ng may pinakamaraming resources.
Integration with business strategy. So the role of operation strategy is to provide a plan for the operation function so that it can make the best use of its resources. So ayun po, ang sabi po ay ang role daw po ng operation strategy ay para mag-provide ng plano for the operation functions para po mapadali ang paggamit ng mga resources. So operation strategy specifies the policies and plans for using the organization resources to support its long-term competitive strategy. So remember that the operation functions is responsible for managing the resources needed to produce the company's goods and services. Operations strategy din po is the plan that specifies the design and the use of resources to support the business strategy. So the operation strategy must be aligned with the company business strategy and enable the company to achieve its long-term plan. So, for example, the business strategy of FedEx. So, itong si company FedEx, ito yung isa sa world's largest provider of expedite delivery service. Siya ay nakikipag-compete sa time and dependability of deliveries. So, ang kanyang ay sa deliver. So, ang operation ng FedEx ay nag-develop ng plan and resources para ma-support yung business strategy, which is yung business strategy nila is para mapabilis ang deliver at ang pagdating ng mga di-deliver sa dapat patunguhan ng delivery. So provide the speed of delivery, yun yung kanilang pinaka main goal. So ang FedEx ay nag-acquire ng own fleets of airplanes. So yun, rumenta sila ng sarili nilang airplane para ma-support ang business strategy nila. So to provide the dependability of deliveries. So ang FedEx din ay nag-invest sa sophisticated barcode technology para mas madali nilang matrack ang kanilang mga packages. So Harvard Business School Professor Michael Porter says that companies often do not understand the difference between operational efficiency and strategy. So, ano nga ba yung pinagkaiba ng operational efficiency and strategy? So, pag sinabi po natin na operational efficiency is performing operation task well, even better than competitors. So, kapag sinabi namang strategy, on the other hand, it is a plan for competing in the marketplace. So, ano nga ba ang pinagkaiba ng operation efficiency at ng strategy? So, sabi po dito, ang operation efficiency daw is performing operation task well, even better than competitors. So, ayun nga daw, nagpe-perform ng operation task well kahit merong mas magaling na competitors. Then, kapag sinabi namang strategy, yun naman yung plan mo or yung plano mo sa kung paano ka magko-compete sa market. So, an analogy might be that of running a race efficiently, but the wrong race. Strategy is defining in what race you will win. So, operational efficiency and strategy must be aligned. Otherwise, you may be very efficiently performing the wrong task. So, kapag daw yun, hindi nga magka-align ang operational efficiency at saka strategy, maaari daw nasa mali kang gawain or nasa hindi ka magandang task or merong hindi maganda sa kalalabasan ng iyong ginagawa. So, the role of operation strategy is to make sure that all the tasks performed by the operation functions must be right. So, yun nga daw, ang role niya sa operation strategy ay para daw ang mai-perform na task ay maging tama at hindi siya nagkakamali. So, ang example naman niya, software company recent invested millions of dollars in developing software with features not provided by competitors. So, only to discover that these were features customers did not particularly want. So, ayun, ang isang software company ay nag-invest ng million na dollar para makapag-develop lang ng isang magandang software na nagfi-features ng hindi na-features ng iba or na hindi nabibigay ng iba. Tapos, only to discover that these features customers did not particularly want. Tapos, ayaw tangkilikin ng mga customers. Kagaya sa Apple na mga cellphones, mga iPhones. Karamihan sa mga Apple users, parang yung mga naggamit ng Android, hindi nila gamay ang magkaroon ng Apple na feature. So, minsan, mas gusto nila ang Android na lang kaysa sa Apple pa. Like halimbawa, kagaya lang pag nagda-download ka, pagka Apple user ka, hindi ka masyadong makapag-download. Parang limited lang yung mga dapat mong i-downloads. Pero kapag halimbawa ikaw ay Android users, anytime na lahat na gusto mong i-download, pwede mong i-download. Tapos kahit kanino, pwede ka pa magpasa. Like share it, Bluetooth, or ganun. Pero kapag ikaw ay Apple users, limited lang yung pwede mong pasahan. Kasi kung hindi lang din siya Apple to Apple, hindi ka agad makakapagpasa sa iba or makaka-receive sa ibang users. So the next one is the impact on competitive advantage. So there are 3 ways that firms strategize to meet their mission: differentiation, cost leadership, and response. So operation managers turns this into tasks to be completed to deliver goods and services at cheaper, better, and more responsibly. So a key factor in any of those strategies and task is to establish a competitive advantage. So, what makes a good or services more unique than anyone who offer the same? So, ano nga ba ang na-offer ang unique sa isang product na ino-offer din naman ng iba't ibang company? So, kung anong competitive advantage niya sa pag-create ng exclusive advantage over competitors. So, ang una ay ang cost leadership. So, ano nga ba yung cost leadership? So, pag sinabi bang cost, ano agad ang ibig sabihin? So, cost is not all about money. So, hindi lang siya basta pera, dollar, or mga barya, or something na merong value na nabibili ng pera, ganyan. So, it is also include that what is your customer perceive as a minimum value, it means driving down cost without making a low cost or low quality. So, pag sinabi daw na cost leadership, yun yung nabibili mo sa mababang presyo pero same siya ng quality. Same din siya ng nagagawang mga features. Parehas lang siya kahit mababa yung kanyang presyo. So, a low-cost leadership strategy is a business strategy where a company aims to become the most cost-efficient player in the industry. So, by producing goods or providing services at a lower cost than its competitor. So, syempre, pag binabaan mo nga naman ng presyo, diba? Tapos, same features, same lang ng, magkaiba lang siya ng brand, lahat ay parehas lang, pero mababa ang presyo, diba? Parang, doon ako bibili. Yun ang bibilhin ko kasi parehas naman ng presyo, magkaiba lang ng brand, pero parehas lang naman ng features. Diba? So, the overall goals is to increase market share to achieve a higher profitability. So, yung overall goals ng competitive nitong leadership, cost leadership is para nga daw ma-increase ang market share at ma-achieve ang higher profitability. So, ang example ng cost leadership is sa Walmart, which has used a cost leadership strategy to become the largest company in the world. So, bakit daw Walmart yon? So, the firm's advertising slogan such as always low prices. So, lagi sinasabi na lagi mababa ang presyo pero parang hindi naman. Hindi naman mababa ang presyo eh. Then, save money, live better. Parang hindi naman. So, communicate Walmart's emphasize on pricing slashing a potential customers. So, ayun, Walmart yung isa sa pinaka mabababa. Unlike SM nga naman, unlike other supermarkets, sa Walmart parang mas mura, pero same lang din naman ang quality and product na binebenta nila. So, ito pa ang isang example ng cost leadership. So, ang IKEA company. So, IKEA, by producing huge quantities of standardized products that people can actually assemble themselves. So, IKEA has gained a competitive advantage with its cost leadership strategy. So, ngayon, ang IKEA ay isang multinational group na nag-operates ng 433 stores across 52 countries. So, ang IKEA is an absolute leader in furniture industry when it comes sa mababa nilang presyo. So, kilala ang IKEA sa furniture industry kasi mababa yung kanilang presyo. So, ito yung kung bakit mababa yung kanilang presyo. So, ang una is dahil standardized ang kanilang product. So, as opposed to competitors, IKEA doesn't offer personalized product. So, hindi sila nag-offer ng mga personalized na product. So, practically, all of them are standardized, which allow the company to produce them in huge quantity. So, dahil standardized, nagpo-produce agad ang company nila ng madami. Kasi para hindi nga naman maubusan. And achieve economic of scale, smaller competitors are not just able to. self-assembly. So, the retailers seek for supplier who are able to manufacture quality reassembles at the lowest cost possible. So, with customers having to assemble the furniture themselves. So, ayun, ang nag-assemble ng kanilang mga product ay kung sino yung customer, kung sino yung bibili. Self-assembly ang tawag doon. So, yun yung dahilan kung bakit mababa yung kanilang presyo. Kasi, ang mga standardized nilang ginagawa na product ay yun lang yung ang nag-assemble ay sarili mo mismo. Halimbawa, ikaw bumili, ikaw mag-assemble. That's why, mababa ang presyo niya. Hindi kagaya ng mga nag-offer ng buo na talaga, tas pwede ka pang magpa-personalize. So, as IKEA doesn't spend budget on employees, syempre, mababa din, wala din silang babayadan na employees dahil nga self-assembly, tipid sa budget. For the assembly process, you couldn't hire them additionally. So, but they are not included in the basic product price. So, ang isa pa is outsourcing. So, as many other companies do, o kagaya ng ibang company, ang IKEA din ay nag-outsource ng kanilang mga manufacturing para sa kanilang product ng low-wage countries, which allows them to cut cost additionally. So, the next business strategy is the differentiation. So, ano yung differentiation? It is important to set your product up as different from competitor. So, mahalaga talaga kung ano yung pinagkaiba ng product mo sa iba mong competitors. Hindi pwedeng wala kang kagaya ka lang tapos mas mahal yung presyo mo. Parang hindi, dapat sabayan mo lang siya. Dapat alam mo din kung ano yung pinagkaiba ng product mo sa kompetensya mo. It is needed to be special or unique in some way. Yon, sabi. There are ways to make this happen in almost every functions within a company. So the goal is to find something that adds value to the customers. And it may be not in price, but in quality. And kailangan, syempre, sa quality tayo babawi. Kasi minsan kahit mahal yung product, basta maganda yung features niya, or maganda yung quality niya, bibilhin niya ng customers, lalo na kung kailangan nila yung product. So, it could be in accessibility. Pwede rin siya kung halimbawa convenient, madaling puntahan, ganun, like locations or offering follow-up customer services. O yun, kapag halimbawa, madaling puntahan, madaling mag-follow up, goods din yun. Tapos, kagaya ng mga repair and maintenance, kapag halimbawa may pinagawa ka, madaling bumalik yung sa aircon, kaka-install mo lang, tapos within 6 months, na madumi na yung aircon mo, tapos tinawagan mo yung binilhan mong company, tapos agad may dumating na maglilinis ng aircon. So, yun, maganda. Parang isa siya sa competitive advantage mo, at isa siya sa pinag-quality na hinahanap ng isang customer. Isa siya sa mga kakaiba na ginagawa mo na hindi ginagawa ng iyong competitive. Then, the only limit is the imagination of the operation managers. So, meron daw types ang product differentiation. So, ano ito? So, ang una is horizontal differentiation. So, ano daw yung horizontal differentiation? So, ang horizontal differentiation refers to any differentiation that is not associated with the product's quality or price point. So, hindi daw associate siya sa quality or sa presyo. So, ang concern ng horizontal differentiation ay nag-offer ng same thing at the same price. Paano kaya yon? Ang isang product ay nag-offer ng same product tapos same price din when making decision regarding horizontally differentiated product. Pero magkaiba ng product, pero parehas ng quality, parehas ng presyo, same siya. So, it often boils down to the customer's personal preference. So, depende na lang sa customer kung ano kanilang preference. So, halimbawa, ang Pepsi versus Coca-Cola. So, di ba, parehas naman yung Coke, parehas lang din na nakakatagtag ng uhaw, parehas din na soda. So, ikaw na lang ang bahala kung mas gusto mo baga ang Pepsi or kung mas gusto mo baga ang Coca-Cola. O baka mas gusto mong RC, gayon. O baka pwede magtubig ka na lang.
So, next is the integration with business strategy. Vertical differentiation. In contrast to horizontal differentiation, vertically differentiated products are extremely dependent on price. With vertically differentiated products, the price points and marks of quality are different. And there is a general understanding that if all the options were the same price, there would be a clear winner for the best. Example of vertical differentiation is branded products versus generics. A basic black shirt from Hans versus a basic black shirt from a top designer, the vehicle mix. Next is the mixed differentiation, also called simple differentiation. Mixed differentiation refers to differentiation based on a combination of factors. Often, this type of differentiation gets lumped in with horizontal differentiation. Example of this is vehicles of the same class and similar price points from two different manufacturers. Next is the responsiveness. Response is a broader than just delivery to a customer of a good or service. It also includes the organization's ability to adjust timely to other factors or changes in the marketplace. It is the set of values related to rapid, flexible, and reliable performance. Operational responsiveness capability is the ability of a business to quickly and effectively respond to changes in the market, customers' demand, and other external factors that impacts its operations. This may involve adapting processes, products, and services to meet evolving needs, implementing new technologies, and making strategic decisions to maintain competitiveness and drive growth. A business with high operational responsiveness capability is agile, adaptable, and proactive in each approach business operations. Example of this is the Netflix has transformed the entertainment industry by providing an on-demand streaming service that allows customers to watch their favorite shows and movies anytime, anywhere. But most importantly, their success story is one of the responsiveness as well. As the market and consumers' trends started to change, favoring streamable content over the rental of physical mediums like VHS tapes and DVDs. Netflix adopted and launched their streaming service while Blockbuster didn't. The company's responsiveness turned it into a multi-billion-dollar business while the category leaders sank into bankruptcy and oblivion. Next is the future trends. In terms of production and operations, future trends refer to anticipated developments, technologies, strategies, and practices that are expected to shape the future landscape of manufacturing, production management, and operational processes. These trends are driven by advances in technology, changes in consumer demand, and involving business environments. Emerging technology is a term generally used to describe a new technology, but it may also refer to the continuing development of an existing technology. It can have slightly different meaning when used in different areas, such as media, business and science, or education. Next is the emerging technologies. It can enhance economic growth, improve decision making, create new products and services, and generate new revenue streams. Next is the automation. Automation involves using technology to perform tasks without human intervention. Next is the goal of automation. The goal of automation is to increase efficiency, reduce costs, and eliminate the need for humans to perform repetitive or dangerous tasks. Robotics. Robotics focuses on specifically on the design, construction, operation, and use of robots machine designed to execute tasks. Robots can be autonomous, semi-autonomous, or remotely controlled. Together, automation and robotics are not only optimizing existing processes but are also enabling new business models and transforming entire industries by introducing higher levels of precision, flexibility, and efficiency. One of the best examples of automation and robotics in business is seen in Amazon's use of these technologies within its fulfillment centers. Next is the Kiva robots. It is acquired Kiva Systems in 2012 and rebranded it as Amazon Robotics. These robots are designed to move inventory around the warehouse. Next is the drones for delivery, Amazon Prime Air. Although still in the development and testing phase, Amazon Prime Air aims to use drones to make deliveries directly to customers' homes in 30 minutes or less. Amazon's approach demonstrates how effectively integrating robotics and automation into business operations can create a formidable competitive advantage, driving growth, scalability, and customer loyalty.
Next is artificial intelligence. So, artificial intelligence is the simulation of human intelligence processed by machines, particularly computer systems. It is field of research that develops methods and software to enable machines to perceive their environment, learn, and take actions to achieve defined goals. The field of AI has gone through cycles of optimism and disappointment, known as AI winters, but has seen a resurgence in recent years due to the advancement in deep learning and the availability of large datasets and powerful computing resources. While AI has the potential to enhance human capabilities, it also raises concerns about job displacement, privacy, and the long-term effects of increasingly intelligent machines. As AI continue to advance discussion about regulatory policies and ethical considerations are becoming increasingly important. So, AI can be categorized into two main types. First is narrow AI. Narrow AI, also known as weak AI, is designed to perform specific tasks with high proficiency. It excels in tasks like image recognition, natural language processing, and voice recognition. This type of AI is focused and specialized, excelling in specific tasks due to the development of algorithms and large datasets. Narrow AI systems are valuable in various industries due to their accuracy and efficiency. However, they have limitation in generalizing knowledge across different domains and may produce erroneous results outside their designated parameters. So, example of narrow AI application include facial and image recognition software, conversational assistants like Siri and Google Assistant, autonomous vehicles, predictive maintenance models, and recommendation engines. Second is general AI. General AI, also known as strong AI or human level AI, aims to replicate human level intelligence and reasoning. It represents machines that possess the ability to understand, learn, and perform any intellectual task that a human can do. General AI goes beyond the narrow domain specificity of narrow AI, understanding and applying knowledge across multiple domains, adapting to new situations, and learning from minimal data. General AI systems exhibit higher order cognitive abilities and reasoning skills, aiming to replicate human cognitive abilities and reasoning across various studies. While narrow AI focuses on specific tasks, general AI aims to replicate human level intelligence across various domains with the potential to revolutionize industries and optimize processes. However, the development of general AI poses significant challenges, including ethical consideration, safety concerns, and the potential for unintended consequences. Next slide. Three-dimensional printing. 3D printing, also known as additive manufacturing, is a process that creates three-dimensional objects by building them up layer by layer from a digital file. It involves using a computer-aided design software to create a virtual model which is then sliced into thin horizontal layers by special software. The 3D printer reads these slices and prints them layer by layer, depositing material such as molten plastic, metal, or cement to create the final object. 3D printing technology offers businesses greater flexibility, agility, and efficiency in product development and manufacturing processes. As the technology continues to advance and become more accessible, its importance in business operations and product production is expected to further increase. Next slide, sustainability. The sustainability of emerging technologies refers to ensuring that these new advancements are developed and implemented in a way that minimizes negative environmental impacts, conserves resources, promotes social equity, and supports long-term economic viability. This involves considering factors such as environmental impact. It means it assesses how the development, deployment, and use of new technologies affect the natural environment. So it includes evaluating the carbon footprint, pollution, and biodiversity impacts. So technology should be designed to reduce greenhouse gas emission, minimize waste, and use environmentally friendly materials and processes. The next is resource efficiency. So it involves optimizing the use of raw materials, improving energy efficiency, recycling and reusing materials, and it reducing dependency on non-renewable resources. So the goal is to ensure that the resources are used in a sustainable manner, preserving them for future generations. Then, social responsibility. So, it involves ensuring fair labor practices, promoting exclusivity, safeguarding human rights, and improving the quality of life. And then, technology should be accessible to all segments of society, help reduce inequalities, and contribute to social welfare. So, it also includes engaging with stakeholders and considering their needs and concerns in the development process. Then last is economic viability. So this means they should create jobs, stimulate innovation, and be cost effective. So technologies must be scalable and have a viable market. They should also contribute to economic resilience, helping economies adapt to changes and shocks. So overall, the sustainability of emerging technologies requires a holistic approach that balances environmental, social, and economic considerations to create solutions that are not only innovative but also responsible and resilient in the face of the future challenges. In conclusion, production and operation strategy plays a pivotal role in achieving business goals by optimizing processes, reducing costs, improving efficiency, and ensuring quality. It aligns resources with demand, enhances competitiveness, and enables responsiveness to market changes. In essence, is the backbone that ensures smooth operations and sustainable growth. It also serves as the cornerstones for achieving business goals by orchestrating efficient resource utilization, streamlining processes, and maximizing productivity. It establishes the framework for delivering products or services in line with customer expectations, driving profitability, and fostering long-term success. A well-defined strategy enables business to adapt to changing market dynamics, innovative, and maintain a competitive edge. So here are several key aspects of how production and operation strategy contribute to business success. First, cost efficiency. Efficient production and operation strategies help minimize costs by optimizing resource utilization, reducing waste, and improving productivity. Then, quality management. Effective strategies ensure consistent product quality, meeting customer expectations, and enhancing brand reputation. Next is capacity planning. Strategic capacity planning aligns production capabilities with market demand, avoiding under or overproduction. Then, supply chain integration. Seamless integration with suppliers and distributors ensures a smooth flow of materials and products. Then, innovation and technology adoption. Embracing innovation and adopting new technologies drive competitiveness and growth. Then, next is customer focus. Strategies align with customer needs and preferences drive customer satisfaction and loyalty. Then last is risk management. So identifying and mitigating operational risks ensures business continuity. That would be all for production and operation strategy. Thank you.